body weight. Outstanding lift. Bar goes to 132.5 for Ryan Troiano out of Pennsylvania.
Calcafuoco. I am from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada, and I'm 34 years old. I teach English primarily in the Language and Communication Department. Yeah, well, the first challenge, I suppose, when I was born, funny story, side story, I guess my parents didn't know there was two of us. We were twins. They didn't know there was two of us until the night we were born. And we were born premature, so as a result of that premature birth, shortly after birth I was incubated. We were both incubated, and they think that my lung collapsed, and that's where I lost oxygen and the damage to the brain occurred. So I suppose that in itself was the first challenge. You know, I wasn't walking at the age a child should walk, so my parents took me in to see a doctor and then eventually a specialist, and he had deemed me to have this condition, cerebral palsy. And he actually said that I wasn't going to walk. He said 0%. So that would be the first challenge, and I owe that to my parents because they were the ones that didn't take his answer as definitive. Right. So a lot of people who are experts in a field or a specific topic, they play the statistics. So I wasn't given much of a chance by the doctor, and thankfully my parents thought otherwise and worked with me, and I actually walked on my second birthday. Cerebral palsy it varies, but it is a condition basically where the brain cannot tell the impacted area to function properly. So there's actually damage to the brain, not the actual area that is impacted. The brain just cannot tell the area to work properly. There are many different types. The type that I have is called spastic diplegia. It only impacts both legs primarily. There are other types, I don't know the names, but it can affect both arms or one side of the body or all four limbs, as well as speech and cognitive ability. So my type is considered minor. Well, the day-to-day life keeps you from getting too down, things like work, but if I actually had to think about things that I do to cope, obviously exercise is one, working out, lifting weights, anything else related to exercise. I dabbled in a few other areas, but mostly weightlifting was my main focus over the majority of my young adulthood into adulthood anyway. So I'd say the gym was a sanctuary, saved me really. But I had actually started as a rehabilitation. I had surgery when I was 14, major surgery, on because of the condition. I was deteriorating, and my body couldn't keep up with the fact that I was growing, and combined with the CP, my joints were all sore, and I had hamstring problems, so I had surgery relating to that, and it started as a rehabilitation technique for a couple of reasons. I had lost a lot of weight because of the surgery. I couldn't eat for a while, so they had me hooked up to basically water and glucose and morphine for like a week. You know, you lose a bunch of weight, and so part of it was to gain some weight back, but also to get me moving and walking again, because after the surgery I was in 2 full casts up to hip, and so once they came off, you basically have to teach your joints how to work again and how to walk again. So that the working out and the exercise and the weightlifting started as a rehab technique to both gain weight and to help me to walk to get to walking again faster. I didn't feel there was a choice. I guess you can't succumb to the negative or to the struggle. I mean, you know, behind closed doors, sometimes there is a struggle, but overall, it's almost a duty that to influence positivity, because there's enough negativity in the world. There's enough negativity day to day, and it does at the end of the day, sometimes you go home and you're exhausted, and things might be tough. But the next day, it's still your job to promote positivity, to promote the good, because if you're not going to do it, then the next person might not do it, and before you know it, things go the other way, and negativity takes over. We see it many times in the media and the world. Media focuses on the negative, but we need to focus on the positive, and that starts on an individual basis. So I don't think there's a choice. There's just no choice. I think another thing that is key that I do, that we all should do, is that we need to take our mistakes or take our experiences and use them as a stepping stone to success, right? So too many times people, we have a problem, we want to do something, we fail, okay, we give up, or we keep doing it the same way, right? So it's a matter of thinking laterally, figuring out a way around the problem. Sometimes you can't go through the wall, you have to go over it or under it or around it, and part of that key is not continuing to make the same mistake. So we need to learn from the mistake, use it as a foundation or a stepping stone to build towards success or getting over a problem. So a lot of times our problems are because we continue in the same behavior pattern, or we continue to do the same thing the same way, which just perpetuates, the problem or whatever the issue is, or whatever it is the person's dealing with. The take home, well, I suppose the theme of when I was doing them, I haven't done one in a while, so I use past tense, I guess, but would be to doubt your limits, and the fact that adversity actually helps success, or the words I use with them is that it actually breeds success. Because if you think, like if anyone thinks about whatever the hardest thing is that they've had to overcome, whether it's a condition or internal struggle, mental illness, or something unfortunately like cancer, whatever the hardest thing is you've had to overcome, if you think about that adversity and the fact that you've overcome that, then you can, overcoming the day-to-day or succeeding in the day-to-day or doing the things that we want to do don't actually seem all that hard when you put it in perspective that way. So I suppose those two things, to doubt their own limits, but also to remember the fact that adversity will actually help someone in their success, because a lot of times the people that have to start at the bottom and sort of scratch and claw and climb their way to the top, they're the people that appreciate it more when they get there, because they realize how difficult it is to overcome and to actually get to that success.